Trail talk time. Out on another beauty of a trail. Just breathing in that fresh chi. Loving this blessed sunny day. Sending everyone limitless love. And today I wanted to speak about 5 lessons that I got from my dad. You know, it might be a tough one this time because he recently passed away. He took his own life, and you know, he was going through a lot, and I wanted to share some lessons that I was thinking about, you know, that maybe could have helped him if he had taken this advice, you know. And I want to start off with talking about balance. You know, balancing everything in life, like work and rest. You know, he was very inspiring because he was always known to be working super hard. Anybody who knows him knows that he poured everything into his work, and he was really a workaholic. And you know, that's a beautiful thing. Everybody has their own way of balancing things out in their life. And that was one thing that he loved to do. But I feel like, you know, it's only to a certain degree that that's helpful. And sometimes we have to balance that with rest, right? We always have to have a good balance in our life. And I think often he was overworking himself and, you know, constantly feeling the struggle of having to work. But it was really inspiring. You know, he went through a lot in his life with going through drugs and stuff like that to deal with certain things, and you know, addiction just got a hold of him. But he eventually, you know, got clean, and at that time it was like he had this breakdown in his life, but it was needed for him to have his breakthrough and to step into something that he really wanted to do, because you know, the job he was in before, it wasn't his passion, it wasn't his dream or something he loved to do. And so after all of that, you know, he decided to go back to school and become an electrician. And once he started that, it's like there was a new chapter in his life that was beginning, and it was so amazing for him. And it made us all super proud. And you know, it was really inspiring to see that it's never too late in life, you know, to follow your dreams and to do what you love, to go back to school or learn something new. And we were all super happy about that, you know. That was one thing that really did make him happy. So, you know, follow your dreams and do what you love to do. But I think it's important to have a balance of work and rest or play, right? And the second lesson is to, you know, stay in the present moment as much as we can, to live in the now. You know, we were talking about after his passing how he would often, you know, stick to things in the past, and he had trouble letting them go. It seemed like there was a dark cloud that was just kind of following him around, and he never learned to deal with things in his past in a healthy way. And at the same time, you know, he had worries about his future, about, you know, wanting to secure this nest egg so that he could have a comfortable life in his future, you know, which I think we all want, most of us want, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But again, there's a balance to it all. And you know, if we're constantly just thinking about the past or the future and worrying, then we're missing out on the beauty of, you know, what's happening right now. And you know, we're never going to be anywhere but here and now anyways, right? So it's okay, and it's good to plan for our future and, you know, have a plan for our lives and have a vision, right? But ultimately, we're never going to be in some future. We're always going to be here now. All we have is this present. So, you know, we're going to miss out on our lives if we're constantly just worrying about the future, right? And on the other side, looking back at the past, we can learn things from our past, but we can never really change the past. Even if we wish we could go back, all we can do is change our perspective about the past, right? And that was something that, he never really learned, is, that power of perspective, and to realize that all the things in his past, they were all just stepping stones. They were lessons that he needed to help him to grow. And I think he just saw a lot of negativity in his past, and he carried that along inside. So I think it's always important to, bring ourselves back to the present moment and, feel and experience the beauty of right now, and realize we don't have to worry about life so much. Everything will flow as it should, right? And we can relax and let all of that just go as we immerse ourselves in the present moment. The breath, I always come back to the breath as a beautiful way to connect to the present moment, right? As we sink our attention, our awareness into our breath, into our body, into our senses, then we can come into the fullness of our experience here, of our energy. And all of a sudden, life takes on a new dimension of beauty, of vividness. And we won't even be, worried about the past or the future anymore, because we're so incredibly immersed in the beauty of now. And that's always one of the key messages in all of my videos. But number 3, another lesson that I learned from him is that happiness comes from within, right? I think especially, towards the end, when he was having troubles in relationships, he was just coming out of a relationship that definitely wasn't healthy, and he jumped right into another relationship, and he never gave himself time to really find that happiness within himself, just to be alone and to be okay with that, to enjoy his own company. And I think that comes from, wanting to kind of run away from himself and not deal with those issues that had been lingering from his past, instead of facing them and dealing with them in a healthy way. It's like he was always just trying to be on the go and move from one thing to another, and definitely look to other people to, give him that happiness. And, happiness comes from within us, right? Exterior things definitely play a part, and, obviously the situations we're placed in play a role in our lives for sure, but, two people can be placed in the exact same location or circumstances and have completely different experiences, right? And this shows that, it's all based upon our own internal perspective and perception. And I love the quote that the Buddha said, is that, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way, right? We create our own happiness, based on our belief system and how we perceive life to be. And we have to be able to create our own happiness from within, because if we're expecting certain things to bring us happiness, then there's a chance that they won't come, that it won't turn out the way that we had expected or hoped or wished them to be. And so we're giving away our power when that happens, right? But we can, be happy now with whatever's going on in our life. We can choose to be happy and to accept whatever's going on and say, I'm gonna be happy now. I'm not gonna wait for some special occasion just to be happy, because nothing like that is ever promised in our lives. So we can't, rely on that, rely on these external factors to give us what we need in our life. We have to give it to ourselves now. And that's super empowering, right? And another, lesson that I got from him, number 4, is not, keeping things inside. From a young age, we're taught that certain feelings or emotions or ways to express them aren't good, and we're punished and shunned for it, right? And eventually so many of us start to close in on ourselves, and we teach ourselves after that it's not okay to even feel or experience certain emotions and feelings. But it's just not true, right? We all go through things. We all have so-called positive and negative emotions, and we need to be able to express those in a healthy way, because we can't let things get bottled up inside. It's still there whether we express it or not, but it sticks within us, and we're not able to flow if we keep it all suppressed and keep it all inside. And that's not good for our energy, for our health, or our mental state. That's what he dealt with a lot, is keeping it all inside and it just kind of lingering there, and then it builds up, right? It just becomes bigger and bigger, and then it's harder to deal with. So better to, face things as they arise in the moment and learn how to express them in a healthy way and be okay with that, right? We don't just have to show people the so-called positive side of ourselves. We have to be okay with showing it all and being not okay sometimes, right? Sometimes we're not feeling the best. Sometimes we are going through pain or struggle or sadness or whatever it is. And that's perfectly okay. We have to accept ourselves no matter what we're going through. And, when we start to accept ourselves, then we feel okay to express that to others. And if we feel like we need to communicate something or talk about it with someone, then we go ahead and do that. And I think that's what so many people who commit suicide, they need some connection. They need to feel like it's okay to go through these things and to express them, and to feel like they're not alone, right? It's one thing to be depressed, but when people take it to that stage, I think it's usually because they just feel isolated and alone in that. They feel like no one will understand, and they can't connect with anybody about it, right? And that's not true again. There's always a way to connect with someone, and sometimes we just need to talk things out and to have someone understand us and to accept us as we are, right? And it's important to have those good people around you, and to have people that you can trust and rely on, that you can talk things out with no matter what you're going through. That's very important. And even if you don't, there's always professionals that we can talk to about these things. There's hotlines that you can call. There's psychologists and psychiatrists that we can, go to seek help if we need, whatever it takes. But that's what I was trying to tell him, towards the end, is that, sometimes you just need to talk things through, and, we want to hear it. We don't just want to hear all the good stuff. We want to hear everything and know what you're going through, because, maybe we can help. And, it's just sad that sometimes people, decide to keep it all inside, and it's too late. But the 5th lesson that I got that I want to share is never lose hope, right? Just because we're going through something now, it doesn't mean that it's gonna have to be that way forever, right? Every emotion, every feeling, everything we're going through is just fleeting. It's temporary. This too shall pass, right? And we can't treat these things, these temporary things, as something that defines us as who we are, right? We're so much more than all of these things that we're going through, all of these feelings. If we're feeling sad or pain or depression, you know, it doesn't have to last forever. It doesn't mean that's who we are. But oftentimes that emotion becomes so powerful and it kind of eats us, right? It kind of takes us over and we start to grasp it and identify with it so much. We think that's who we are at that moment. But you know, just as, you know, storm clouds come through the sky and then they pass again, you know, the sky remains the same. It's not tarnished by these clouds coming and going. You know, even on the most cloudy day, the sun is still shining behind it, right? So we can't forget that. We can't get lost in the clouds when they come and forget about the sun that's behind it, right? There's always a silver lining, and you know, that perspective starts to open us up so that if we're dealing with something, you know, we're feeling sad or depressed, then we at least, you know, realize that, okay, I'm feeling this way right now. You know, I do have to face it and figure out what's going on and find a healthy way to move through it. But it's not going to be forever. This isn't who I am. And that's very freeing as well. And, you know, anybody who's going through any type of depression or anxiety or things that feel really heavy, I just want you to know that you're not alone, right? There's so many people going through the same thing, and there's always somebody that we can talk to and connect and share with. And you know, that's one thing that can really help, is to feel like, you know, somebody else is going through the same thing and we're not alone in this, you know, and other people care about us and they love us and they want to see us shine, but they accept us even when we're going through those dark periods, you know? So you don't have to be perfect all the time and be happy all the time. That's just not, you know, reasonable. Everybody goes through different types of emotions and feelings, and it's perfectly okay, right? We wouldn't know all of the beautiful, bright, happy feelings without all of the, you know, darker ones and the sadness and everything. You know, life is that beautiful spectrum, and we have to see the beauty in it all, right? So that's all I wanted to share for today. I love you, Dad, and I hope you're, you know, happy now, free of pain, wherever you may be. I love all of you, and I hope everybody, you know, cherishes this life, you know, while we have it, and cherish the people around you. You know, if you love someone, tell them and let them know and show them. And don't wait until it's too late, because you never know, right? You know, harness every opportunity you can in this life and don't wait until tomorrow. Enjoy your life and enjoy the company around you, and, you know, continue to show that love to yourself first. Because my dad was always super loving to everyone around him. He was such a helpful guy, and, you know, always doing what he can just to do the little things, right? And made everybody else around him feel good, but I think he just, you know, didn't learn how to give himself the love that he needed. So that's what it starts with. Anyway, that's it for today. Have an amazing day. Peace and limitless love.